Good afternoon, dear students. So now let us continue with the secondary market. Okay, and I told you that the secondary market is nothing but the stock exchange. Now, dear students, now the stock exchange or the secondary market, again, it is very important from your examination point of view. Okay, now let us see what are the functions that are performed by this secondary market, or which is called as the stock market or the stock exchange. Dear students, the stock exchange provides liquidity to the securities. What do you mean by liquidity to the securities? Now, I told you in the example that I gave you in the morning class, I told you assume that you have purchased certain shares of ABC Company Limited. Now, once you have purchased the shares of ABC Company Limited, you want to sell back these shares. What you can do, you can sell these shares in the secondary market or the stock market. Now, dear students, see, once you purchase the shares, let us assume a 10,000 rupees you had invested in the shares of ABC Company Limited. Now, after 1 month or so, you want urgently, you're in need of money. Now, what you can do, of course, the primary market is over because the shares were issued for the first time in the primary market. Now, you have invested 10,000 rupees in ABC Company Limited, and of course, you know that fluctuations are bound to happen in the share market. But still, when you're in urgent need of money, you can go to the stock market and you can think of selling back the shares that you had purchased so that you can get the money immediately. Of course, we cannot tell you that the same 10,000 rupees you will be getting back, because you can get more or less, because shares are subject to volatility. But dear students, keep in mind, because of the existence of the stock exchange, you can think of selling back the securities whenever you want to sell them. Okay, so buying and selling of securities can take place continuously in the stock market, and that is why it is said that the stock market provides liquidity to the securities. Okay, so you need not worry that yes, I have purchased the shares of ABC Company Limited, now I'm in need of money, what shall I do? You need not worry, because if you are in need of money, you can definitely think of selling back those shares, and that can happen in the security market. Okay, and dear students, the next important point, mobilization of savings. Okay, as I was telling you, dear students, if you have 1 lakh rupees, or even if you have 10 lakh rupees, and if it is kept idle at home, that money is not going to fetch you any type of money. I mean, it will not reap any type of benefits. But on the other hand, if you think of investing this money somewhere, definitely you will be in a position of making some income. You can earn some returns. So, what is the advantage of having the stock exchange? The stock exchange also helps in mobilizing the money of the people. That means to say, any surplus money that you are having, rather than keeping it idle, you can think of investing that money in the shares, the debentures, or in bonds. So, what I'm trying to tell you is the stock exchange here is playing a very important role in mobilizing, that is, in collecting the savings of the people. So, that is why please keep in mind that the next important function of the stock exchange is that apart from providing liquidity, it also helps in mobilization of savings. Okay, and dear students, apart from this, also keep in mind you have valuation of securities. What do you mean by this valuation of securities? Valuation of securities is nothing but, dear students, every day, okay, that is the value of the shares and debentures, it keeps on fluctuating. The price of these shares will be calculated or valued by the stock market. Now, see, for example, I was telling you that ABC Company Limited, now you have invested money in that ABC Company Limited, the price of the shares will keep on fluctuating. And who is going to do the valuation of the shares of that ABC Company Limited? The valuation of shares of this ABC Company Limited will be done by the stock market. Okay, so dear students, please keep in mind, today you have purchased the shares of ABC Company Limited at 100 rupees. Tomorrow the price may go down to 95 rupees, or day after tomorrow it may become 110 rupees. It depends upon the demand and supply of money. It also depends upon the performance of the company, how exactly the company is performing. Based on that, the valuation of securities will be done. And dear students, there is so much of transparency. You can every day see what is the price of the securities that you have purchased through the stock exchange, because the valuation of securities will be done, okay, with the help of the stock exchange. And dear students, ensures security of the transaction. That means to say, please remember, I was telling you about the unorganized market. See, in the unorganized market, definitely there is no, standard rules and regulation. There is no governing body. But dear students, there is a very important regulatory body called as SEBI. The Security Exchange Board of India is the regulatory body of the stock market. The stock market is also called as the secondary market. So you have the SEBI, which is the regulatory body of the stock market, and that is why the transactions that are traded in the stock market will be secure. That means to say, there cannot be any type of hide and seek happening, because all the informations will be completely available to the public. And also because there are certain standard rules and regulations that have to be followed in the stock exchange. That is why there will be security of transactions. Okay, and dear students, please keep in mind, the other important point under the stock exchange is that it contributes to the economic growth. Okay, so the stock exchange, it provides a platform for trading in securities of various companies. So what will happen is, as I told you, now many companies which are thinking of buying and selling, okay, their shares, can do that in the secondary market. And it is actually helping those companies to raise huge amount of money. So what is the stock exchange doing? It is not only helping the companies, but even the government. Dear students, please keep in mind, there will be certain bonds that will be issued by the government. Okay, now these bonds are very secured in nature, and the government issues these bonds because they want to raise money for carrying out some development activities. So what you need to keep in mind is, because of the stock exchange, it is in a position to raise huge amount of money from the general public, and that can be used either for the development and growth of the companies, or for the development and the growth of the nation. Okay, and also dear students, you can know every day, you can check what is the worth of the holding, what is the worth of the securities that you have purchased. That means to say, as soon as you purchase the securities of one company, tomorrow you want to know the information about what is the price of the securities. Yes, it will be completely available to the investors. So you need not have a fear in your mind about what is the price of the security, I'm not getting the information. No, the securities market, the stock market, will provide complete information to the customers, or to the investors, about what is the worth of their shareholdings. Okay, so dear students, please keep in mind, the stock exchange will give complete information about what is the worth of the securities that are traded in the stock market. Okay, that is why, the investors will also have a confidence, right? So when will you have confidence? You'll have confidence only when there is transparency. So the stock exchange is playing a very, very important role in providing confidence in the minds of the investors. Okay, and also it provides investor education. Okay, it plays a very important role by providing information, so you can know the complete details about the value of your shares, the debentures, and also every now and then there will be publications that will be provided by the stock exchange about what are the different securities which are available, which company is thinking of issuing what type of a share, okay, and what type of a company it is which is raising the shares. All the information will be available to the general public. That is why investor education will also be provided by the stock market, which happens to be a very important point for the investors. And dear students, it controls the corporate sector. That means to say, every company which wants its shares to be dealt in the stock exchange, they have to strictly follow whatever guidelines have been given by the SEBI. Okay, they cannot, any company which is trading in the stock market cannot do the trading according to its will and wish. Okay, it has to strictly follow whatever rules and regulations are there given by the SEBI. That is why it means to say the secondary market can have a complete control over the companies, okay, because the companies which do not follow the rules and regulations of the stock market will not be able to trade in the stock market. Okay, and dear students, see, the stock market is considered as a barometer of the economy. What do you mean by this barometer of the economy? Now it is nothing but, dear students, please keep in mind, now whenever you're having a fever, to find out what is the degree of fever that you're having, what do? You make use of a thermometer, right? So thermometer is a device which is going to tell whether an individual is having fever and whether that fever is very high fever or not. Similarly, barometer happens to be one of the instruments, okay, which can be used, where it indicates whether the stock market once, now see, if you say that today the sensex is very high, it is at 500 points high, it means to say the economic condition of the country is very good. So dear students, so you should always keep in mind that stock exchange acts as a barometer of the economy. That means to say, once you look at the sensex points every day, you will come to know what is the economic condition of the country. If the points are down, it means to say somewhere there is a lot of problems that is happening in the economy. On the other hand, if you say that no, the I mean the Sensex is doing well, it indicates that the economic condition of the country is very good. So, dear students, please keep in mind these are some of the points that you need to know about the stock exchange. So, let me tell you once again, I'll just repeat. So, stock exchange is nothing but the secondary market. I told you in the morning class itself that you have a primary market and the secondary market. So, primary market is when the company issues the new shares for the first time. That is called as the primary market. And then when the secondary trading happens, that means the shares have to be listed on the stock exchange for it to be further traded. And dear students, please keep in mind, as I've already told you, this is a very important concept. You need to know about the functions of the stock exchange. So stock exchange acts as a barometer of the economy. It shows whether the economy is performing well or not. Okay, and it provides liquidity to the securities. It helps in mobilizing the savings of the people. It helps in, valuation of the securities, okay, that will also be done. And I told you, dear students, it also helps in providing security for the transactions. Why? Because you have the SEBI, which is the regulator of the stock market. So all the companies have to strictly follow the rules and regulations given by SEBI, and that is why it is ensuring security. And also the companies and even the government are able to raise huge amount of money basically because of the trading that happens in the stock market. Okay, and there is a lot of transparency, so whenever you people want, you can completely know about what is the worth of the securities that you have purchased. Every day what is the worth of the securities will be available in the website itself, so you can look at the price of your security, and accordingly you can decide whether to purchase some more shares of that company, or you can also decide whether you can think of selling the shares of the company. Okay, so all of you please keep in mind that the functions of the stock exchange happens to be very important from your examination point of view. Okay, now, dear students, apart from this, I told you that when you use the term a financial Indian financial system, I told you that you have several concepts that you need to focus. And under that, I told you financial assets is one, then financial markets are there. And dear students, you have financial intermediaries. Okay, see, financial intermediaries are nothing but you can think about the financial institutions. Okay, and also the brokers, all of them play a very important role in intermediating the transactions in the financial sector. And of course, please keep in mind there is another important concept, financial rate of return. Dear students, financial rate of return is nothing but whenever you purchase any instruments in the Indian financial system, every instrument that you purchase is you're purchasing it mainly to earn some return. For example, when you purchase the shares, your intention is that you will be able to earn a percentage of dividend. When you purchase debentures, you will be able to earn a fixed percentage of interest. So, financial rate of return is nothing but any of the instruments that have been dealt in the financial market. Each of the instruments will give you a financial rate of return. Okay, and financial instruments are nothing but all the instruments like the shares, the debentures, the bonds which have been dealt in the in the financial system. They are called as the financial instruments. Okay, now dear students, as I already mentioned to you, now whenever there's a 10 or a 15 mark question about financial concept, what you can do is you can draw a chart, and also a chart has been included in your material also. So once you draw the chart, you can say what all are the components of the financial system. That is, the financial assets is there. You have financial markets, financial intermediaries, financial rate of return, and financial instruments. All these are there. And then of course you can make subdivisions, like for example, in financial markets you have organized, unorganized market. Again, under organized you have this money and capital market. All that classifications you can show when you're writing a 10 or a 15 mark answer. Okay, now dear students, this is about the primary and the secondary market. Now let us go to the next very important concept. Okay, that is about, just a minute, we will directly go to the concept of commercial banks. That means I'm trying to focus on those aspects which is very important. Okay, so we will study today about the commercial banks. What are the functions of commercial banks? Again, this is very important for 10 or 15 marks from your exam point of view. It's very, very important. That's why I thought I will give importance to this topic as well. Okay. Now, dear students, clearly understand this because it's a very important concept. Commercial banks. First of all, keep in mind that commercial bank is a financial institution. Dear students, this commercial banks every day in our life, it is helping us so much, right? We want to every day. Now see, from the time you get up in the morning till night, every day you have to carry out transactions which involve money. Now if you want to go and purchase vegetables, you need money. You want to purchase fruits, you need money. You want to travel by bus, you need money. For everything you need finance. Okay. And of course, the commercial banks are playing such an important role today in providing these financial assistance. Okay. Now imagine how it would have been without these financial institutions. If you people were having money, but you don't have a bank to save this money, what would have happened? All the money that you earn, you would have simply spent it recklessly, and it would have got wasted. But look at these banks. They are helping you to deposit your money, right? So if you're having huge amount of money, you can always think of depositing this money with the bank. And of course, you will be getting a percentage of interest for depositing this money with the bank. Not only that, think about the loans that they are providing to you, dear students. See, it may be housing loan, it may be vehicle loan, different types of loans that they are providing. See, today it is not easy for us to invest our own money and to buy a house. We need a loan. So who is providing this loan? It is the banks that are providing these loans, right? Okay. On a vehicle, you're in need of a vehicle, but you do not have so much amount of money with you. Let us say you have only 20,000, but the worth of the vehicle is 60,000. Imagine what you can do if there were no banks. So, because of these banks, which are very important financial institutions, they are helping us in providing financial assistance in our day to day life. Okay. So, if you want to buy a bike, 20,000 rupees, you can pay it in the form of down payment, whatever amount you're having with you, and the remaining 40,000 you can borrow from the bank. Okay, so now let us go in detail about this concept of commercial bank. First of all, yes, of course, commercial banks are profit seeking. That means to say the banks are also carrying out their activities mainly with the intention of earning profit, right? So they want to earn profit. That is also an important objective, but they are helping the public in a number of ways. Now, dear students, there are so many definitions that have been given with regard to commercial banks, but I will mention to you two important definitions. There is one definition given by Professor R.S. Sayers. Okay, he says commercial banks are institutions whose debts, usually referred to as bank deposits, are commonly accepted in final settlement of other people's debt. What they're trying to tell us, look at the beauty of a bank, dear students. Now, as I was telling you in the morning class itself, now you go deposit 2 lakh rupees in the bank in a FD. Okay, 2 lakh you have deposited in a fixed deposit in a bank for a period of 5 years. Now, what that bank will do, it knows very clearly that 2 lakhs you're not going to withdraw before 5 years. That 2 lakhs they will take and they will use it for giving loans to some other person who is in need of that money. So, look at the beauty of the bank. They are accepting deposits. On the other hand, they are lending loans. They are accepting deposits from people who are having money, and they're lending loans to people who are in need of money. That is the beauty of a bank. Okay. So, a commercial bank is an institution which collects money from those who have it, and they lend money to those who are in need of it. Okay. So, please keep in mind, dear students, this is one of the main functions of commercial banks. Now, dear students, coming to the very, very important part of your examination, what are the functions of commercial banks? This is one of the very, very important 15 mark question that can appear in your examination. So, and because it is a 15 mark question, so you have many points and sub points that you need to understand. So, dear students, I will tell you about each of the functions in detail. So, kindly try to listen to me and understand the concepts very clearly. Okay. Now, when it comes to the functions of the bank, dear students, let me tell you very clearly the primary, there are many functions that will be, of course, performed by the commercial banks, but the primary function of commercial banks are accepting of deposits, lending of loans, investment of funds on securities, and creation of money. Okay. Now we will start one by one. Okay, as I told you, the first very important function of any type of a bank is accepting of deposits. Let us start with that. Now, dear students, when you use the term accepting of deposits, you must know very clearly that there are various types of deposits, right? Now, you as a customer, you want to deposit your money with the commercial bank. Now, when you want to deposit money with the commercial bank, all of you should keep in mind that there are various types of accounts that can be opened. We will go in detail with each of them. The first one, dear students, is called as a current account. Dear students, let me tell you very clearly, current account is a very important type of bank account which will be opened by businessmen. Please keep that in mind. So a current account is not opened by all people. Okay, you and me, everybody cannot open the current account. A current account is a type of a bank account which is based, which is opened basically by industrial establishments. It is opened by businessmen who carry out thousands of transactions in a particular day. Okay, so what is the idea of having this current account? The basic idea of having this current account is for the convenience of business people, for the convenience of industries. Now, you know that industries and businessmen, they will be carrying out thousands of transactions in each day. So, for the benefit of that, current account will be opened and money can be deposited and withdrawn any number of time in a current account. Okay, dear students, please keep in mind, main thing that you should always keep in mind is current account is an important bank account. It is basically opened by businessmen and by industrial establishments, and the ideas is that they can carry out a lot of transactions in a particular day, and any number of times they can think of depositing money, and they can think of withdrawing money any number of times. Okay, so and that is the main advantage of having a current account. And dear students, coming to the second type of an account, a savings account. Of course, all of us are very familiar with the savings bank account. Okay, now when it comes to the savings account, dear students, they are basically opened by all middle and lower income group. Okay, so generally middle and lower income group people, now what we think is, we think of saving some amount of money. See, as the name itself indicates, it is called a savings account. Savings account is nothing but it is opened by middle and lower income class people who want to save a part of their income. Now let us assume you have rupees 500 with you. You feel that rather than keeping this money idle, let me think of depositing this money in a savings bank account. So you can deposit 500 rupees. You have 50 rupees, you can deposit. You have 1000 rupees, you can deposit. So please keep in mind, the basic idea of having a savings account is to encourage savings habits in the people. Now, as I told you, dear students, if you did not have a bank, obviously you wouldn't have thought of opening a savings bank account. So if you don't have a savings bank account, you cannot think of saving the money according to your requirement. So because of the savings bank account, as and when you have money, okay, additional money with you, and if you feel that this money is something extra which I'm having with me, okay, apart from the expenditure, you can always think of saving money in the savings bank account. And yes, dear students, I think all of you know very clearly, you will also be earning a percentage of interest when you deposit the money in a savings bank account. So in a savings bank account, dear students, you know very clearly, once you go to a commercial bank and you open a savings bank account, they will be giving you a passbook. So in this passbook, and also you can take an ATM card also will be given to you. So whatever transactions you carry out in the savings bank account, that will be completely entered in the passbook for your reference. So you can deposit money any number of times, but when it comes to withdrawal, they try to put some minimum restriction. Why is this restriction? Because the intention of having the savings bank account only is to encourage saving habits among the customers. That is why the banks generally do not encourage you to withdraw money more number of times. Okay, so dear students, I hope you are understanding. First thing, please keep in mind, when it comes to the current account, a current account will not be opened by general public. Okay, so current account is the account which is opened only by business people. It is opened by big industrial establishment. Why? Because in case of these business and also in case of industry, lots of transactions happen right from the time they open their company to the time they close their business in the evening. Lot of transactions will be happening, and to encourage them and to help them or to make it convenient for the business people to carry out these financial transactions, current account can be opened. And dear students, please keep in mind, in case of this opening of this current account, okay, they will definitely, they can think of withdrawing money any number of times, they can deposit money any number of times, and basically most of the transactions will be happening in with the help of the checks. Okay, and coming to the next type of an account, the savings account, dear students, as all of us know, it is basically for encouraging savings habits. So general public, basically the middle, the lower income group of people will think of having a savings bank account. Whenever we have any extra amount of money with us, we can think of depositing it. You can deposit money any number of times in a savings bank account, dear students, and of course you'll be getting a passbook. And today opening of a savings bank account is very very easy. Okay, and the main idea is to encourage people to save the money. And dear students, let us come to the third type of account, which is called as fixed deposit account. Yes, dear students, fixed deposit account, of course, anyone, a low income, middle income group people, they think of having this fixed deposit account. Now, in this fixed deposit account, you are going to deposit that money in the account for a certain period of time. That means to say, in a fixed deposit account, there will be a lock in period. So, in this type of a fixed deposit account, what will happen is, let us say you have invested or you have deposited 5 lakh rupees for a period of 5 years. So, there is a lock in period of 5 years. You cannot withdraw the money before the expiry of this period of time. Okay, and you will be getting a very high percentage of interest in the fixed deposit account. Why they'll be giving you high percentage of interest in the fixed deposit account? The idea is that you're going to keep that money with the bank for a longer period of time, and so you will be getting higher percentage of interest. And dear students, please keep in mind, now the biggest advantage of fixed deposit account for a bank is what will happen. The bank can use that money for giving loans to a number of people. So all of you, please keep in mind that fixed deposit account will have a fixed maturity period. So you have to deposit that money in the bank for a lock-in period, and after that period of time you will be getting back the money along with interest. Okay, and thanks to these fixed deposit account, dear students, because of the fixed deposit account, you can plan something. Now let us say, you know that after 5 years, okay, you have to pay the your child's fees. Now let us say the age of the child is 1 year. You know that at the age of 5 or 6 years you have to join them to a particular institution. So you know that you're estimating that this may be the amount of fees that you have to pay to the school. So what you can do is, you can start thinking of depositing that money in a fixed deposit account, so that after 5 years you will be getting back that principal amount along with interest. And dear students, one of the biggest advantage is, see, the term bank itself means reliable. The word bank, you can bank upon someone. Okay, you can bank upon means to say reliable. That means to say, now dear students, if you invest money in the share market, you do not know about what type of fluctuations may happen. That means to say, the price of your shares may increase, decrease, so you never know. But when it comes to depositing money in a bank, your money will be safe. Okay, and of course, you will also be getting back that money along with a percentage of interest. Okay, so this is the idea of having a fixed deposit account. Okay, and then, dear students, one more very popular method, one more very popular account is, of course, the recurring deposit account. Now, what is this recurring? Now, the meaning of the word recur means to repeat. Now, again, in case of this recurring deposit account, dear students, this is a type of account to encourage the savings from the customers, but you will be depositing the same amount of money for a certain period of time. Okay, for example, you have entered into you have taken up a recurring deposit account for 5 years time. What you should do, you must be depositing the same amount of money. Let us say you have said that I want to open an RD for 5 years term. Every month I will be paying 500 rupees into my account. So the same 500 rupees only you should keep paying every month, so that it will get accumulated for a period of 5 years or 10 years according to your will and wish. So, what is the idea in this recurring deposit account? See, in savings deposit account, it is not like that. Today, you can, this month, you can deposit 500. Next month, you can not at all deposit money. The month after that, you can deposit 1,000 rupees. You can deposit money of any denomination in a savings account. But in a recurring deposit account, dear students, first of all, the reason of having this recurring deposit account is to encourage savings, but you will be depositing a fixed denomination of money every month until the maturity period. So after 5 years, you will be getting back the total money that you have deposited, and you will also be fetching a very high rate of interest. And of course, you know, dear students, that there are many public sector banks are there, private sector banks are there. The rate of interest that they provide may vary from one bank to the other bank. So you need to evaluate carefully, and then you have to deposit the money. So these are the four main types of deposits. Okay, the savings bank account you have the recurring deposit account, you have the current account basically for the businessman and industrial establishment. You also have the fixed deposit account, which is for a fixed period of time. Okay, that is again a very, very important concept. Now, dear students, out of the functions of the commercial bank, I told you the first very important function of a commercial bank is accepting of deposit. Now, the next important function of a bank is lending of loans. So this is very, very, very important. Okay. Now, the bank will not just keep accepting of deposits, but it will also lend loan. Now, what is the idea of lending loans? The idea of lending loan is that the bank should get some amount of money in the form of income, right? Now, see, if you go and deposit money with the bank, you will earn interest. It is an income for you. But bank is a commercial establishment. Now, the idea of a bank, or the main economic objective of a bank, is also to earn profit. So how can it make money? It will be in a position to earn profit, or it will be in a position to earn interest only when it lends loans. Okay, and how is it going to lend loan? Of course, from the people who deposit money, they give them that money to the people who are going to borrow money. Okay, now, dear students, but when it comes to lending of funds, please be very careful. There are four types of popular ways of lending. Okay. Now, as soon as you say lending, it does not mean that there is only one type of lending that is offered by the commercial banks. You need to keep in mind that the lending of funds, okay, can happen in four various forms. One is in the form of loans, The other one in the form of overdraft. The next one is cash credit. The other one is discounting of bill. Yes, dear students, when you're writing about lending loans, you have to write about all these four types. So very, very important. Now let us go point to point. Okay. Lending. Now, when it comes to loans, dear students, as you all know, you have different types of loans that are provided by the banks. Okay. Now, it can be housing loan, it can be vehicle loan, it can be education loan. So, various types of loans will be provided by the bank. And of course, in case of this loans, it will be a lump sum money. That is, it is a huge amount of money that will be given. And of course, it will be for a certain period of time. All right. So, what will happen now? Let us say you want a housing loan. You go and approach one particular bank. So, let us assume 40 lakh rupees has been sanctioned to you. And you know that when they have to give you a loan, they will not simply give you the loan. They will ask you for many, many, many documents. Okay. They will see what is the salary of the employee. Okay. Now, what amount of money you're earning in the form of salary? Why? Because you will be able to repay the money only when you have a source of income. That is why when the bank is providing a loan to your students, they will find out if the customer is credit worthy or not. That means, are they in a position to repay the money or not? Okay. So what the bank is going to do is, now let us say you have approached the bank for a loan. Now they give you 40 lakh rupees in the form of loan. The entire 40 lakh rupees will be given to you in one lump sum. Lump sum means that huge amount of 40 lakhs will be given to you at one shot, and you can repay the money over a period of time. Now let us say this 40 lakhs is being divided for 20 years. You have 20 years time, but every month you have to pay in the form of EMI. What is this EMI? Equated monthly installment. Okay, so please keep in mind, loan is a financial arrangement that will be made by a bank. They will pay you the entire lump sum money at one shot, and you as a customer can take that lump sum money and use it for whatever purpose you have applied the loan for. Now you have taken 40 lakh rupees, you have purchased a site, or let us say you have purchased a house. What you will do, you the loan will be for a certain period of time. Now let us say if it is a 20-year loan. Okay, every month you have to pay the loan, okay, in the form of equated monthly installment, which is called as EMI. Now when you're paying the EMI, you will be paying some amount of money towards the principal amount, and some amount of money will be towards the interest. Okay, so every month the bank is getting EMI from the customers, and that is how it is able to earn some amount of money in the form of interest. Okay, and dear students, please keep in mind, there are various types of loans provided by banks today. It can be for a medium term, or it can be for a longer period of time. As I told you, vehicle loans are provided, education loan is there, you have loans for the purchase of land, or for the construction of a building. Okay, or let us say for purchasing a new machinery also, you will be provided a loan. So different types of loans will be provided by the banks to its customers. Okay, now coming to the next type of lending, dear students, it is called as overdraft. Very, very important. What is this overdraft? I think you people have heard about it. See, overdraft is an arrangement between the banker and a current account holder. Very, very important. Dear students, I told you that current account is an account which will be opened only by businessmen and by industrial concerns. So please keep in mind, overdraft is a lending arrangement which will be provided by the banks only to the current account holder. Overdraft is not provided for any other type of account. For savings account, you don't have overdraft. For fixed account, no overdraft. Recurring account, no overdraft. Only a current account holder can be provided with an overdraft facility. What is this overdraft facilities? Now, dear students, you know that now the current account holder who is a businessman, he will be definitely having a good credit worthy, okay, because every day he will be carrying out some business transaction. Now, over and above the money that is there in his current account, he can draw a certain amount of money. That is called as overdraft. Okay. Now, that means to say, an overdraft is an arrangement between the banker and the customer, wherein the customer can withdraw over and above the balance in his current account. Now, let us say he is having zero balance in his current account. So, how can he withdraw? He cannot withdraw. So, what a current account holder can do, he will be given a facility called as an overdraft. Even though he is having only a zero balance, he can overdraw an amount of money, okay, up to a certain amount of money, which will be granted by the bank, okay. And please keep in mind, this is only a temporary arrangement, okay, which will be provided against some security, and the borrower is permitted to draw and repay any number of times, okay. But please keep in mind, it will not be allowed to any other account holder except for a current account holder. But for the current account holder, this overdraft facility is a temporary arrangement. If he is having even zero balance in his current account, the bank will provide him an overdraft. Like, let us say up to 20,000 rupees, they'll provide him an overdraft facility. He can take that money, make use of that money, but he has to repay the money again along with interest, okay. That is called as an overdraft facility, okay. So, dear students, when it comes to the basic functions of the bank, the first function of a bank is accepting of deposit. Under accepting of deposit, you have to write about all the four types of account: the current account, savings account, recurring deposit account, fixed deposit account. The second important function of any bank is lending of funds. So, under lending of funds, you need to clearly write about the loans that have been provided. Then you have to write about the overdraft facility. Then, starting at the next facility, cash credit. Yes, dear students, this cash credit or this overdraft can be separately asked for 5 marks also. Now, what is this cash credit facility? Okay. A cash credit is an arrangement by which the customer is allowed to borrow money up to a certain limit. Now, dear students, what you should keep in mind is basically this cash credit is a short term financial arrangement. Mainly, this cash credit will be provided to companies, or it can also be given to some individuals, wherein they can meet their working capital requirement. What is this working capital requirement? Dear students, let us say there is one company A, and this company A, assume that it is a phone manufacturing or a mobile manufacturing company. Now it has purchased raw material and it has converted raw materials into finished goods. The mobile phones are ready. But you know very clearly, but although the mobile phones are ready, they have to sell it. Only after selling it, they will be in a position to earn money. But dear students, they will have some expenditure, minimum expenditure, which is called as working capital expenditure, which means for the day to day running of the business, they have to spend some amount of money. And if they don't have even that money, it will be very difficult for them. So if they don't have that money, they can approach the bank for cash credit arrangement. What will happen? They can give some security, okay. Definitely this cash credit facility will be given against a pledge or an hypothecation. That means to say, they have to give a security for cash credit facility that will be provided by the bank. And why is this cash credit facility provided? It is provided mainly for them to meet the working capital requirement. Working capital requirement is nothing but, dear students, to meet the day to day requirement, okay. So they can withdraw the money from the bank up to a particular limit, okay. So what the bank will do, they will provide them something called as a cash credit limit. So up to that limit, the customer can withdraw the money, make use of that money for meeting the working capital requirement. Later on, they have to repay the money along with interest. And basically, it is provided for companies, okay, because they, like as I told you, until they sell the finished goods and they'll be able to make money, during the time gap they will need some money to carry out their day-to-day activities. Okay, so that is why cash credit facilities will be provided. Okay, and then please remember that cash credit provides a very good form of borrowing, okay, because the businessmen, okay, or the companies, they need not suffer because they don't have working capital money. They can always approach the bank, the commercial banks, for cash credit. And dear students, the fourth form of lending, please listen to me. This is again very important. It is called as discounting of bills. Now, this discounting of bills can also appear separately for 5 marks. What do you mean by this discounting of bills? A very important concept. Okay. Now let us assume one Mr. A has purchased goods from Mr. B for 50,000 rupees. Okay, once again, Mr. A has purchased goods from Mr. B for 50,000 rupees. But A, that means to say A is the buyer of goods, B is the seller of goods. Now A has purchased goods from B for 50,000 rupees, but A is not in a position to pay the money immediately. Now, because A is not in a position to, pay the money to be immediately, he can have one alternative. That alternative is there is a bill of exchange that can be drawn. What is this bill of exchange? Bill of exchange, dear students, is a promissory note. Now, in this bill of exchange, what will happen is A is going to clearly mention that I am going to pay Mr. B rupees 50,000 on such and such a date. Now, let us say he will be able to pay 50,000 rupees by the 10th of August 2022. Okay. Now, I hope you're understanding. A is the buyer of the goods, B is the seller of the goods. A has purchased goods for 50,000 rupees from Mr. B, but he is not in a position to pay 50,000 immediately to B. So both of them enter into an agreement. Okay. A is going to draw a promissory note called as a bill of exchange on Mr. B. So in that bill of exchange, it will be clearly mentioned that I promise to pay rupees 50,000 to Mr. B on such and such a date. Now, let us say, as I told you, 10th of August 2022, he is going to pay 50,000 rupees to Mr. B, for which he is given a promissory note. Now, B has accepted the promissory note, he has accepted the bill of exchange, and he has sold the goods to Mr. A. Now, today, you know that it is 26th of April. Assume that, in that it is clearly mentioned that the amount will be paid on 10th of August. Assume that all of a sudden, in the month of July, Mr. B is in need of money. Who is Mr. B? B, of course, is the seller of the goods. He is in need, urgent need of money. Okay, and he needs that money in the month of July. Okay, now he needs that money in the month of July, but he knows that he can approach the bank for money only in the month of August. Okay, that 50,000 rupees will be paid by A to be only in August because it is clearly mentioned. Now he is in urgent need of money. What can Mr. B do? B can go to the commercial bank. Okay, what Mr. B can do? He can go to a commercial bank. He can give that bill of exchange to the commercial bank and get it discounted. What is the meaning of discounting? Now, out of that 50,000 rupees, let us say the bank is going to say that 2,000 rupees we are going to keep it in the form of our commission, and remaining 48,000 will be paid to you immediately. Okay, now of course he may be losing 2,000 rupees because 2,000 is like a fees to the bank, but the bank is ready to pay 48,000 rupees to Mr. B immediately. What is the advantage of that? Now, see, the advantage is that Mr. B is in emergency need of fund, so he need not worry now. He can go and get the bill of exchange discounted by the bank. So, look at the advantage, dear students. So, he cannot wait until August 10th because he's in emergency need of fund. So, he can go to the bank, and once he goes to the bank and presents the bill of exchange, the bank is going to discount the bill. As I told you, 2000 rupees will be discounted from 50,000. So 2000 will be kept by the bank and 48,000 will be paid to Mr. B. Okay. So what is the advantage of discounting bill of exchange? So the person who is having the bill of exchange can get it discounted with the bank if he is in urgent need of funds. So I hope you're understanding. So dear students, so accepting of deposit is one of the very important functions of the commercial banks. Apart from that, you have lending of funds, and under lending of funds, dear students, please do mention about providing of loans, overdraft facility which is provided only to the current account holder, cash credit which is provided to companies for meeting the working capital requirement, and also please do mention about discounting of bills. Wherever possible, you should try to make use of diagrammatic representation. You should try to make use of examples which will help you to score better in the examination. Now, dear students, let us go to the third function of a bank. Okay, the third very important function of a commercial bank is investment of funds on securities. Okay, now, dear students, besides providing of loans, advances by the commercial bank, they also invest some surplus money in securities. Yes, dear students, see, a bank will be having huge amount of money. Okay, now with this huge amount of money, what they do, rather than keeping that money idle, they try to invest money in the securities. Now, particularly, dear students, see, sometimes the government itself will issue some securities, like government bonds will be issued. Now, this government bond, which will be issued by the government for raising money, is very beneficial. Why? Because, first of all, when it is issued by the government, you know that it is a security that you will definitely get back the money. You will also be able to earn a percentage of interest. Now, what commercial banks are doing is, whenever they're having surplus money, they're also trying to invest that money in the securities. So, because they invest money in securities, now government is also able to raise money because of the issue of securities. Okay, so please keep in mind, commercial banks also perform another important function, which is called as investment of funds in the securities. Okay, it may be in government bonds, it may be in debentures, it may be in shares, etc. Okay. Then creation of money. The next very important function is about creation of money or credit creation. Okay. Dear students, a unique function of commercial bank is to create credit. In fact, credit creation is the outcome of the process of giving loans. When a bank advances a loan to the customer, it does not lend cash but opens an account in the borrower's name and credits the amount of the loan to his account. Whenever a bank grants a loan, it creates an equal amount of bank deposits. Okay, so what they're trying to tell you is that, so banks, whenever they provide a loan, I think you people must be aware, they will not directly give away the cash. Rather than that, they create an account. They create an account and they deposit that amount of loan into the account. So what banks are doing is they are trying to create more and more accounts. And once they create more and more accounts, there will be chances of deposits as well as lending will keep happening in a simultaneous manner. And definitely the economic development of the country will automatically take place. Why? Because there should be lending and borrowing happening on a continuous basis. Banks should keep on creating account, they should be accepting deposit, they should be giving loans. Only then there will be lot of development, okay? Because it is not just the individuals who are accepting loans from the banks, even okay, that is companies are also borrowing huge amount of money for carrying out their activities, okay? Now dear students, apart from that, you have agency functions, okay? So when you're writing about the functions of the commercial banks, you have to divide it as accepting of deposit, lending of loans, investment of funds on securities, credit creation. Then you have agency function. What do you mean by this agency function? For example, remittance of funds. Banks help the customers in transferring funds from one place to another. Yes, dear students. See, if you people issue a check to the bank, they will definitely play a very important role in seeing to that the check that has been issued by you will be deposited. Whatever money has to come to you from the others will come back to you. So they are playing a very important role in remittance of funds of their customers, okay? So you know that you can remit your money, you can transfer your money from your account to any other person's account, either by issuing of checks or drafts, okay? That is what is the role played by banks. And then collection of and payment of credit instruments, okay? As I told you, see, checks, bills of exchange, promissory notes, they are all called as credit instruments, dear students. The banks are playing a very, very important role in dealing with all these instruments, okay? And then execution of standing orders, okay? Now see, if I give instructions to the bank for making periodical payment of my rent, the bank will do that. If I give instructions, it is called as standing instructions, okay? So if I give instructions to the bank to pay my insurance premium, okay? Now let us say some people are very busy, they will not be having sufficient time in order to make payment, okay, of their, hello, hello, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಮುಗಿತಾ. So, in case you give standing instructions to the bank for making payment of your rent, they themselves will take up the responsibility of payment of rent. Okay, you give them instruction for payment of your premium. Now, let us say insurance premium has to be paid by you or every month. Okay, but you're very busy. If you give standing instruction to the bank, they themselves will take up the responsibility of making payment of your insurance, okay? And dear students, the bank will also provide you with some income tax consultancy services, okay? I will discuss with it in tomorrow's class. Thank you very much, dear students. So in the next class we will continue.